two people for ADC, David Mark and Bala Gombe, they fight for who be the original party chairman. This thing, know, David Mark say na him be the real chairman. Gombe say na him be the real chairman. Oh, now what? So they go carry the matter go court. As they carry the matter go court, court say we still decide who be the real leader of ADC. So for now, make nobody change anything. Make them not change any document or anything for the matter. But we never decide who be the real leader of the ADC. Say make everything, all the documentation of the party, dey the way then dey before fight starts. Before the fight starts. Okay? So yeah, INEC come. INEC need to put, because now party something INEC go dey interested. So INEC come say, okay, what are this matter? Make we look into this matter. Because you know say na INEC like they keep the record of every political party, from your ward chairman, your LGA chairman, your state chairman, regional chairman, and national chairman, and all the schools. Now INEC they keep the record. INEC be like prefect for school. INEC they keep the record. David Mark side write letter give INEC. Make INEC no recognize Gombe as the national chairman. Then Gombe come write letter give INEC, say make INEC follow the court order. Then remove David Mark then from the system. They hear me or listen to. When they go like INEC call the confuse, this person don't bring, this person don't bring. What you go do now? INEC call say, okay, we need to take a final say on this matter. We consign ADC, which is David Mark and Bala Gombe. With INEC talk, INEC talk say, okay, because of wetin dey happen, they say we no go choose anybody, we no go choose David Mark, we no go choose Bala. Reasons be that the court never finished the case. The case still dey court. So we no go choose anybody as the chairman. They can say they go back the way things been day before the fight start between Bala and David Mark. And with INEC talk, and they can still say they no go attend or recognize any meeting. INEC talk is that they no go attend ADC primaries or recognize ADC primary as legal. Whether na from David Mark side or na from Bala Gombe side, they no go attend any of the primaries or recognize any of them. And primaries na the main thing wey political party dey do to carry pick their, to carry, so how they call them, a convention, na the main thing to carry get their new leadership, new chairman, new everything in preparation to their primaries. If INEC no attend, recognize that thing is invalid. I think INEC don't talk. INEC constantly say they go remove all the current name them, the current names of leaders from ADC wey dey their records, and they go remove everybody come out. That is all those of for INEC now. ADC no get leadership. They don't come out all the names they come out. You understand? So the final thing is that David Mark and Bala they argue who be the leader of the party. They carry the matter go court. Court say make una wait, make we really find out the truth about this matter. INEC say okay, in that case, make we come out the people name where they yourself. Make we wait for court to give the final decision. That's what INEC don't do. But don't forget, we just get few days, few weeks to their convention. We go lead to them installing leadership. We go prepare towards the party's primary against the 2027 election. Now, as usual, they say, hey, na president, na Tinubu, don't use INEC chairman, they want to scatter the party, want to disorganize the party, blah, 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 blah. Hello, sir. It's called politics. Use what you have to get what you want.
On this INEC and ADC matter, I've written something before, but I'm doing this video for the benefit of my followers who said that that my write-up was a bit legalistic. So I said, make I break them down for una to understand what I mean for them, because the blame no just they won't place. Why would they blame INEC? Say, oh, INEC gave interpretation that wasn't supposed to be, because the position before the war supposed to be where the matter day before they go court. But also make we also understand and blame the people when carry the matter go court, and then the court also when take certain steps. So what will happen? First and foremost, blame what they call him a nephew Bala, because the man saying no resign. But we see where the man they happy and they jollificate. So also blame the party. Maybe the settlement when they promise they no settlement. I don't want to know, because we've heard stories of settlement, no settlement. I don't want to know. On the 2nd of September 2025, the man filed processes at the High Court in an FCT, say against the party ADC, against David Mark, against Aregbesola, against INEC and Ralph Worsen. What was his claim? What did they ask? He said court restrain INEC as fourth defender from recognizing Aregbesola and David Mark as chairman and secretary of the first defender, which is the ADC. And on the 4th of September, that matter come up. The court said no. This is ex parte. The matter came up ex parte, because he had filed application ex parte, filed a locatory, and then filed the main originating summons. And the court said no. For matters like this, he no go good. Make we just hear only your party and then restrain people, considering the time that also election is approaching. So go and put the other party on notice. Serve all these processes. Go and serve them. The court refused that application and said, go and put them on notice. And they should come and show us why we no go grant the second application, which is the interlocutory one. Ordinarily, simple. So when they serve you that kind of processes, you go now go to court and file your own counter affidavit. No. David Mark and Co. did not. Rather, they go court of appeal. File application at the court of appeal that no, this man should not be recognized. Instead, and when the matter come up at the court of appeal on the 12th of March, that's from September to 12th of March, at the court of appeal say, they look the lawyer and say, this is not a discretionary matter and not judge discretion. So why you come here without leave of court, either the leave of the Federal High Court or the leave of court of appeal? We call it leave of court. So say, well, since there is no leave, the man keep quiet. The court said, since there is no leave, the appeal is incompetent. The application is incompetent, and refused it. On that note, one would expect that the court of appeal would just say, well, since the application is incompetent, just go back to the lower court and ask for accelerated hearing because the application before us is incompetent. But the court went ahead to now make consequential order. Don't take any step. Maintain status quo ante bellum. Was those prayers? No. Maintain status quo ante bellum. Don't do anything that will frustrate the matter at the lower court. Maybe the court felt, oh look, since convention they come, or this people feel rush do convention. Or also, the court should have just, since the court already don't tell them, say, go to the lower courts, ask for accelerated hearing. Since you say appeal is incompetent before you, so why now insist maintain that? Because at the lower court, the application was not granted. Since application was not granted at the lower court, what is now maintain status quo and all of those things? Let them go to the lower court. They've already told them, go and ask for accelerated hearing. So if the court had not taken the step and made the pronouncement that he made, the fourth respondent, which is INEC, would not be interpreting this way and that way. And most times INEC will say, oh no, we're not going to recognize any party. But also INEC, considering the fact that the election is close by, you would say, oh, INEC wanted them to put their house in order. But INEC also should have looked at the process and said, okay, we'll recognize this fashion, but go and put your house in order. And also the court, understanding the way Nigerians interpret, how lawyers interpret, let me get this, let me get that. The court also ought not to have gone, in my opinion, the court not supposed to go further to make consequential order the moment they say go back and ask for a accelerated hearing, because already there was no order made at the lower court, because the order was come and show cause. The matter said they never even hear it. So I just said, let me do this to explain to my everyday people when they follow me so that they will understand the legal jargons of the law.
Of an understanding. INEC procedurally has come out to say this is, and I know that a lot of the times over the years in the way politicians behave, they going from one court to the other, extracting court cases, and you find one court case in order in Zamfara, another one in Gombe, forum shopping legally called, and they will present it for INEC, and you'll be torn between several options in the middle of the controversy. But as a regulator, INEC had to make a decision. But this decision that INEC made in the case of ADC, and now INEC chairman referring to what he called the status quo ante bellum. Yes. Legally speaking, I'll need your explanation as a senior lawyer on what that meant. What is status quo ante bellum? And in fact, procedurally, the decision of INEC to remove David Mark and Aregbesola's name as the leadership of the party, where does this leave the party?
In dire straits, into dire straits. Because if INEC withdraws its recognition, it means in effect that it will not accept any list of candidates from the political parties. The political party will not be invited to any meeting. It will not, in fact, basically dead for this period that is not there. Because INEC only takes, by its own regulations, only takes correspondence, only listens and invites the national chairman and national secretary. And when it comes to submitting a list of candidates, it gives you a code. Without that code, you cannot access the INEC portal to submit a list of your candidates. So if it does not recognize any chairman or secretary of that, national chairman, national secretary of that party, that means that party cannot submit its code. If the party does not, the national chairman, national party doesn't sign a notice that they want to conduct a congress and a convention, it means INEC will not monitor. And if INEC does not monitor that congress, give notice to the commission, it means it will not, any list of candidates emerging for such exercise will not be recognized.
Sorry, before you go on that note.
Yes.
ADC says we don't care whether you are monitor or not, referring to INEC now. Yes. And they will go ahead as planned to conduct their, under the David Mark and Aregbesola's leadership. Yes. We go ahead and plan and conduct our convention.
Yes.
As far as the constitution is concerned, monitoring and observing party activities is a duty. But is a party bound legally? What is the legal implication of monitoring of election? Does it make it legally invalid or valid, as the case may be?
Good question. We have to put things in context. Yeah. Now, if a party does not give INEC notice of its congress or convention, It's electoral, not the constitution. The constitution gives power to INEC to monitor the activities of political parties, including their finances. Then the electoral goes further to say, look, if you are going to select candidates or select an executive, we have to be there. Now, that of ADC, as far as I'm aware, is interesting because as at the time that the David Mark executive or working committee was constituted, INEC monitored that. INEC, they've also given INEC notice, and INEC recognized that and put it on the website. So INEC recognizes the David Mark and Aregbesola committee up till very recently, recognized that and accepted a notice. They gave a notice of its desire to conduct congresses and conventions. So it has given that notice. Now, if you have given that notice to INEC, at least 21 days notice, whether INEC comes or it does not come, that does not validate or invalidate the process.
So they are good to go with the convention.
As it were,
in the eye of the law, in the eye of the law, whatever happens at that convention, as far as it's immaterial whether INEC is there or not, is after the fact, as far as the law is fair accomplished, as long as the monitoring, as far as the notice is concerned, which is the mandatory procedural requirement by law. So whatever happens, whoever emerges at that convention, which is going to be an electric convention, it's legally binding.
It's legally binding.
Even if INEC is not present.
As long as they've given INEC the notice of election. There are several congresses and conventions INEC has not been present for one reason or another. But once it has given notice of that, once the party has given notice of that, then its mere presence or absence does not validate or invalidate.
But the PDP convention in Ibadan, INEC was not there. And it became invalidated by the court.
Yes, that was because you have to look at things contextually and why the courts give the judgment that they give. Because I think, if I recall correctly, it is a question of you went ahead against a valid court order, specific order for you not
conflicting
to
order.
Not to hold.
There was an Ibadan court which says go ahead. Correct. There's an Abuja court which says don't go. And
no party, no person, no litigant should be faced with conflicting court orders of coordinate jurisdiction or equal courts, the courts of equal jurisdiction. So now, ADC, legally speaking, procedurally, they are in good standing. At least as far as the law is concerned, in terms of the notice of their convention. However, the removal of the name of Aregbesola and David Mark by INEC, legally speaking, did INEC do the right thing in that context? I listened to the INEC chairman explain why the commission did what it did. I also read the 5-page statement. It's a long statement, it's unprecedented, and they took their time.
It looked more like a legal explanation.
It was an explanation. It was not a statement. It was give the basis for the decision with the read. I may not agree with that decision, and many lawyers, I'm afraid, will not agree with that decision. It's a question of interpretation of what the status quo antebellum was. And a lot of people asked at the time that the case went to court, what was the status quo antebellum? And you did ask me your first question, what did you mean by that? It means before the hostility started, before the disputes, as it were, started. And one thing, the law requires, once you have a political party, it must have a chairman, national chairman, it must have a national secretary. Be it in an acting, the provisional, but there must be one. You cannot have, it's like having a human being on the head. It's not possible. So you must have. So what INEC has done basically is I said, this party does not have a chairman. That's not, but
let's mathematically look at the law.
Yes.
What is the rest in this case?
Good question.
So, because it will help us to now find X. Because we're looking for status quo antebellum. Because what Nafi Bala is saying is that as at the time who was to step down, I am the I'm the man that should naturally step. So there are a lot of people who say that is the antebellum there. That is the point where that is the conflict.
Did he step into those shoes? Was there any party meeting? Was there anything where he stepped into those shoes? Or is it an automatic thing? People will say antebellum, then maybe go back to Ralph Monsu's as they still being thing. That's what happened before the.
I think before the status quo antebellum. For those who don't understand the Latin word,
yes, it means I think most people understand the status quo, how things are. And so antebellum, how things were before the commencement of the hostilities. So how were things? When was the hostilities? Was the hostilities 2nd of September when Bala went to court? Was it as when Wonsu resigned or Wonsu was there, or was it a question of don't forget, INEC recognized these people. A classic case was that of Ojukwu against the governor of Lagos State, and you read it also. That's a classic case. Now, at the time, the Supreme Court held that Ojukwu was forcibly removed from the house. No, return him to the house, pending when we take his application. Remember, what the Rizka Villa, you're sitting in front of the house. No, that is wrong. While the case was in court, you don't usurp the powers of the court or render nugatory what the likely outcome is likely to be. So what was it? There's Vaswani and Sawala, old 1972, more than 50 years ago. And they said, look, a man lost the case. I said, look, I have a motion for stay of execution of the state. So don't do anything. Don't remove this man pending when the court can actually hear the case. So that's the same kind of thing. What before the dispute arose was Bala at any time chairman of the party? So apparently INEC says no. So what was David Mark and Aregbesola chairman and secretary respect, national chairman secretary respect, it appeared INEC recognized that as at that time. And this happened even before the case was instituted in court. This was as far back as July. So it depends on what you want to interpret the status quo antebellum. Was it when Rafosu stepped down? Was it when monitored that convention? There was no case in court that time, don't forget. There was no case in court as at the time. They gave recognition to
you as a very senior lawyer, of course, you remember the case of Laduni versus Kukoyi on protecting the rest.
Yes.
Because when status quo antebellum is involved, you are telling the court that please help me, protect me.
Yes.
And the court is saying, you go back to before the hostilities began, because that is the context here that INEC was explaining in those 5 cases. And anybody who remembers the Laduni versus Kukoyi matter is also talking about what's the subject matter, the rest, protecting it. But give me a moment, Mr. Osasiuzi, because we're going to break, and when we come back, this interpretation, they say we will not recognize anyone. Now, ADC is a persona non grata. As far as it is now, it's in the balance. Its leader is rudderless as far as the regulator is concerned. But the problem is that the rest is also in danger, because by the time the court comes back, it will have been too late. Fait accompli. But we'll be back after this break, everyone. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. So, those who are lawyers or who don't have the Laduni and Kukoyi case of 1972 that I made reference to, is going to resonate to anyone who remembers the matter, the conversation around status quo antebellum, because the conversation is how to protect the rest, protect the subject matter. Now, the rest here, Mr. Osasiuzi, will be not messing up with the leadership of the party, which is in context here. Now, the question is, by the time what INEC is running away from is they don't want to be found guilty of taking sides. And that's why the chairman said, let's leave things open. But then what is the danger in leaving things open? Because primaries are supposed to start in April and end in May, I guess.
That's correct. Now, the Court of Appeal gave that order. The Court of Appeal did not say, don't recognize either faction. It never said, so say preserve the rest. What is the rest? The political party and its ability to function as a unit, as a registered political party in the country. That is the rest of this thing. If you don't have a national leadership, that means the party cannot function. You are actually destroying the rest if you do not recognize either person. It means the party cannot give you notice of convention. It means the party cannot give you notice, cannot sponsor any candidates. That is the effect of the decision now of the commission.
Yeah.
Because if you don't recognize any national chairman, you don't recognize any national secretary, how does the party function? Your rules say, your regulations say, you need the national chairman and secretary to endorse notice of convention, notice of candidates, and every other notice that has to be done, every communication between you. And now you have cut off the line of communication between the party, which is still in existence, not been registered. You cut off the line of communication between you and the party. You do not recognize the party, in other words.
Especially now the party has become a mainstream opposition party now.
Well, it's a mainstream party, which should not happen to any party at all. But more so because of its importance and because of the people who are now members of the party. People recognize it. The presidential system. So quite honestly, you don't recognize a government party and opposition party. But yes, in the colloquial terms, it is now the main opposition party. And you say the main, we're almost back to those African countries where the main party is the only recognized person. And you have tiny little things that go around there in the pretext that you have multi-party democracy.
So what this means is that fundamentally and realistically, technically speaking, anyone who is running on the platform of the ADC is in danger of being on the ballot. That's technically
or being excluded from the ballot because first of all, the constitution says you must belong to a party as sponsored by that party. In the extrapolation, in the interpretation of those things, for you to show that you belong to a party, the national chairman and secretary have to introduce you to the commission, to INEC. To say this, INEC says no, we're not going to accept any communication from this person or that person, from anybody, because INEC has not now recognized anybody. So it's a danger of the party not functioning as a political party, not being able, and the main objective of the political party is to sponsor candidates at elections.
In the eye of the law, based on the pronouncement of INEC, ADC does not exist. Technically,
the effect of it all, that's what it means, because you will invite them for meetings with political parties. You will not accept lists of candidates from them. You will not accept any communication from them. You will not have any dealings with them. You will not relate to them, have any dealings with them. That is not the intention of the Court of Appeal decision. Preservation of the rest is to preserve that political party as is.
For someone who has worked in INEC and with your, without miscalculating, over 35 or so years in the bar.
Yes, 42 years.
42 years. If you were in the shoes of the present INEC leadership, what would you do?
Now, there are antecedents. Don't forget, our memory tends to be very short. A similar crisis arose in AD, Alliance for Democracy, at that time, after the ACN was formed. Yeah. A few people remained behind in the AD, and were causing a lot of confusion. What did INEC do? INEC invited them and tried to intercede, and partly because of that, INEC set up a committee for disputes, so that it can be alternative to litigation. And I think they were able to settle, by and large, that AD crisis as at that time. We can take a lead from that. Intervening in terms of trying to resolve issues. I think there was an attempt to the PDP in this present commission trying to resolve issues of PDP. But I'm not aware that they tried to do so this. Apparently, that been simmering maybe July, August, up to September before it went to court. I don't know what the commission did, whether it's intervened, I don't know. But that is one of the things to be done. But you must recognize one person as a regulator. You have to ensure that the people you regulate are alive and kicking. But you are a regulator for democratic institutions. You must ensure that multi-party democracy is sustained. And in order to do that, strong, virile political parties are an essential, integral part of democracy.
So you think INEC erred in this? This is an error of judgment, do you think?
I will take a different view than what the commission did, yes. Yes.
This was not the best. They could have done better.
In my own opinion, this was not the best way to go about it, because you have, with the best of intentions probably, but you have now had a situation where you have almost destroyed that party as a political party. It no longer has all the attributes of a political party.
So let's close now. Just in 10 seconds, if you are to give, and if they need to pay for the legal advice, if you are to give a legal opinion and an expert opinion to ADC, if you're any member of ADC, what should they be doing now? Just in 10 seconds.
Well, I think they should try and resolve this issue. There are two ways. Either go for a accelerated hearing of that case and ensure it's dealt with speedily, or get some kind of clarification or compel INEC to do what it has to do to preserve the rest of the party.
Mr. Oluwole Osazuzi, many thanks. Always a pleasure having you.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I must assure you that we do support you, and all the attempts to muscle the press and the threats to you, we sympathize well with you and we back you, and well with you.